All right, we are about to kick this thing off. We are finishing up practice shots and about to start frame 1 of 16 of the semifinal match of the 2024 Illinois Shuffleboard Association National Tournament held in Royal Palms, Chicago, here in Chicago, Illinois. Quick note on format, we are doing a 16-frame game. One team will start on yellow, play 8 frames, then they switch, take more practice shots, play frames 9 through 16 on the opposite color, and whoever's ahead at the end of 16 frames wins the match. There's no 75-point limit. And starting on yellow, we have Rob and Kim from Royal Palms, Chicago. They are the winners of the 2024 Brooklyn National Tournament that just happened a couple months ago in June. Really, really strong play. Check out my video to watch them win the finals. And we have, they're against 2 other national champions who are Mike Dunlap and Mike Brady, who won the first ever Illinois National Shuffleboard tournament here in Chicago in August of 2022. So it's national champions versus national champions. All these players, super nice people, really, really strong shuffleboard players. So this is going to be a really, really fun match. And yeah, kind of the purpose of this channel is to teach newer players how to get better at shuffleboard through talking about shuffleboard strategy. So I'm going to be explaining a lot of what's going on the court. You'll learn a lot about how to level up your shuffleboard game. Yeah, it's going to be a really fun time. Subscribe if you haven't already. All right, so that yellow disc up front, Kim put something called a St. Pete. That is where you put up a blocker kind of halfway between the tip of the 10 and the right edge of the court. And Mike is just trying to blast it and hit it really hard. And the idea is, like, normally in shuffleboard, when people just start playing, they just sort of start scoring points. But if you have a point on the board and nothing's blocking it, your opponent can just knock it out, or even worse, knock it into the negative 10, which is that trapezoid at the base that says 10 off there. So what you tend to do is you put up these like preemptive blocks at the front of the board, hope your opponent can't clear it out, and then you try to hide behind it. And that's what Mike's about to do now. He's going to try to put a disc on an 8 on the right side of the board, and he gets the deep 7. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. That black disc up front that's just to the right of the tip of the 10 is mostly in the way of that shot he just put up. Let's see what Kim goes for here. Yeah, she tries to hide behind it herself and misses. And now Mike, with his hammer, the last shot of the frame, already has a 7 there, has an opportunity to score 2 and take an early lead in frame 1. Looks pretty good. And she sticks the 7-8 line. Oh, that's so rough. So yeah, 0 yellow, 7 black in the first frame. Any disc touching a line does not count as points, of course. The disc has to be fully in for it to score. So kind of an unlucky shot for Mike there, hitting that 7-8 line. Really had a nice opportunity to take the lead and just couldn't get it. All right, sweet. So frame 2. So Mike Dunlap down here on black versus Rob O'Mahony on yellow. Yeah, so black put up a Tampa. That's like another strategic block up front that gives you more space to hide behind than your opponent. That's a kind of a staple in Mike's game. He loves going for the Tampas. And what yellow's doing is just trying to blast the board clear. The idea is that when you have the hammer, you have a strong advantage. Because if you clear every shot off the board, you have the last shot of the frame. Whatever is there, you can score an open hammer. If there's just an open 8, you can clear and replace it or knock it in the kitchen. Really, when you have the hammer, the last shot of the frame, the sort of like textbook strategy to maximize your chance of scoring that frame is to clear everything and then score your hammer. So yeah, that seems like what Rob's doing here. Sometimes it shifts though, because not everyone plays the same way. There's many paths to winning in shuffleboard, and some people just go on the board. Yeah, like that's sort of what Rob's doing there. He's just like, all right, I'm someone that likes to try to play the kitchen game. So he puts up the 7. Mike can't clear it, and he has a deep 7 on the right side of the board that Rob can score and potentially knock into the negative 10. That's exactly what he wanted. Looks pretty good. Oh, baby. All right, he gets the 7 but misses the kitchen a hair long. Really nice shot from Rob, giving it a little extra oomph because he didn't want to come up short. Really, really nice hammer. And after 2, it's 7-7. Yeah, so that's sort of what I was talking about. Like, a lot of people just clear the board, score the hammer, but you don't have to play that way. If you want to be a player that really relies on the kitchen game because that you think that's your strong suit, that's what you practice, you can totally do that. And that's what Rob did. He decided, hey, instead of clearing that disc on the left, let me go on the board, hope that on my last shot I have something to knock into the negative 10. And strategy worked really well. He just missed the kitchen by a hair. All right, so yeah, Mike Brady, he puts up a Tampa. It's a little bit to the right of where he wanted it, but Kim is trying to clear it, and she doesn't clear it. And her disc moves a little bit to the left, and that's sort of like a perfect Tampa placement where Mike can score an 8 on the right, and it'll be perfectly blocked up. It looks like he got the score, but it went a little bit further to where he wanted, where I think Kim can probably see the right edge of it and clear it out. Let's see. Now, there must be a little bit of drift on this court where that disc, as it was coming down, it looked like it was getting pushed to the left a little bit. And she hits the blocker up front. So now Mike's probably just going to block that up. Yeah, pretty nice shot. I like it. I think that's strong. Yeah, he blocks up the score, trying to cover his treasure, as I've seen it written in a shuffleboard book. You have a score there. You're trying to block it up. And that looks like a pretty good block. Kim can maybe go behind that black disc. Let's see. Man, it goes to the right again. Exactly what she did in the first frame when she was trying to hide back there. It went to camera right, and she clipped the block up front. So now Mike with a situation where another good block sort of protects that 8. Looks pretty good. I mean, there is a gap between the two where, I don't know, if I'm Kim, I'm like real tempted to go in between the two. Try to get an 8, maybe bump him onto the 7-8 line or hit him through the back of the court. But she did just miss to the right twice. So you're like kind of thinking there's something weird on the court that maybe missed the shot twice. But if there is drift, maybe she could learn from it and get this. No, she misses again. It goes to the right, and she clips the block up front. Really rough. And black scores off hammer. Yeah, when you score and it's your opponent's hammer, that frame, that is like a huge, huge thing in shuffleboard. That gives you such an advantage because when you have the hammer, you're supposed to be the one scoring. Let's say you get like a 7 or an 8. Having the hammer is kind of worth like 7 or 8 points if you can get it every single time. If you get it half the time, let's say it's worth like 3.5, 4 points. And instead, the team without the hammer scored. So that's like kind of the end of the world. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but like because it's still only an 8-point game. But black has an extra hammer here. They convert on this hammer, and suddenly they're up 2 scores. Not the end of the world, but it definitely makes you nervous. I will say that. You're like, wow, this game is not going according to plan. And sometimes, as a player, even something like that, someone scoring without the hammer, it starts you on a path where you start taking more risks than you normally would, and you make some bad decisions. All right, so Rob looks like he's either going on the board or trying to throw up Tampas a little deep. Mike clearing really, really well. Yeah, that's one of the strongest things about this team, Mike and Mike, is they are really, really strong clearers. Kind of like how I play, where they don't necessarily go for a lot of kitchens unless they're down and really need it. They're just really strong clearers. Try to do that strategy I was talking about, clear the board, score your hammer. And this is a great example. Like instead of trying to kitchen that, he blasted it, trying to get it clear. He stuck it, though, and now you know Rob is going to try to put him in the 10 off. All right, you can see Rob talking to Dunlap a little bit. A lot of the Chicago players, very talkative while they play. Oh, does he get it? 2? Oh, wow. So he left the 7 in, and now a clear and replace on this yellow disc on the left. If he can get it. Oh, it hooks left a little bit. Oh, and he rolled over and got a little lucky. So he scores 14 on his hammer, and now they take a 3-disc lead. They're up. How much are they up? It's like 20-something. They're up 22 after 4 frames. Wow. That is like a dominant start. Got a little lucky. He was trying to hit it straight on and just stay in the 7, and he rolled it to camera right and managed to avoid the center line. So, but still, really nice shot, like perfect speed. Just missed the line a little bit. It still worked out because the speed was good. Yeah, well, I started to say there's definitely like cultural differences in how Royal Palms Brooklyn and Royal Palms Chicago players play, which I've noticed. I'll talk about that a little bit briefly. Royal Palms Chicago players, a lot of them go for this like bump shot where even if there's like a disc up front in the Tampa, they'll try to bump it back into points. They love doing the bump shot, and because they go for it so often, they're really, really good at it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of that. And then also they're very chatty during a match too. And Brooklyn, like we're all friendly, we're like cool and chill. But it's like another level here in Chicago a little bit. So it'll be interesting. I think we saw that a little bit in the national tournament, like Eric kind of getting in his own head because he was playing against Rob, and Rob was being chatty, and Eric is like a silent, super focused player. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that happens to Dunlap down here. I mean, just so far it doesn't seem like it because he's They're up 22. Yeah, really nice clearing. So this is what I'm talking about, like really strong clearing from the Brooklyn guys, and there's not a lot Kim can do here except try to throw up a score that's kind of close to the tip of the 10. It doesn't get it, just kind of blocks up the front. Yeah, she was kind of going for a 10, but like really, really high where Mike, if he hit it straight on, wouldn't be able to fit his disc in. She comes up a little soft. It's a pretty effective block. I mean, it doesn't block up the whole board, but it makes him have to choose where he's shooting at. And he executes that perfectly. Doesn't hit the yellow up front. Speed was good, got the 7. And yeah, after 5, it's 7 yellow, 36 black. So really, really, really strong start for the Brooklyn guys. I think Brady down there is a chatter. I don't think he's afraid to chat a little bit on the court. But yeah, Rob and Kim, they're the loveliest people. I was so happy for them to win the Brooklyn National. It was sort of fitting too, because Mike and Mike came in here year 1 of the Illinois National and won. Brooklyn won it on Chicago's home turf year 1. New York, we just hosted our first national tournament, and Chicago came in and won it on year 1. So it was sort of like a fun tit for tat. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see these. There's still 2 Brooklyn teams in this thing and 2 Chicago teams. It's definitely going to be interesting to see if we have another Brooklyn versus Chicago finals. I'm definitely rooting for it. All right, so Rob still going on the board, hoping that Mike leaves him something to kitchen. That's called kitchen bait. And Mike is just blasting clears really, really nicely. Man, if your opponent is like clearing well, that's how you protect a lead. And if they're clearing well, there's nothing you can do. Yeah, nice hammy from Rob. Gets the 8. Must feel good to be moving in the positive direction, even if he was hoping for a score end to kitchen. There's a lot of game left, though. It's 15 yellow, 36 black, 21-point advantage right now with 10 frames left. Yeah. So, I don't know. I think both Rob and Kim have been kind of playing the last 2 frames. They've just been going straight up on the board, and Mike have been clearing really well. So it's interesting to see if they switch the strategy a little bit, you know? I mean, if your opponent's clearing well, there's not really a whole lot you can do. But it might be interesting to see if they start moving the disc around, going for Tampa's, St. Pete on the board, sort of like alternating the spot that their opponent has to clear. That's typically what you want to do. Like if they're clearing really well, aiming at a disc on the 8, for instance, on like one side, you kind of want to move it around. Ooh, Kim's lining up to kitchen that thing. Tries to kitchen the St. Pete way long and leaves a perfect St. Pete for Mike Brady to hide behind. Which, honestly, with a 21-point lead, I don't know if you go for this because there is a scenario in which you, like, kitchen yourself. Yeah, he comes up way short on that. Yeah, and now, I don't know, that's what I'm saying. Like, he could have just blasted the clear and tried to maintain this 21-point lead. And now suddenly, if Kim kitchens this, it's going to be blocked up by 2 discs up front. Oh, she's just like, I don't know what that was. I guess blocking Mike's ability to bump that into points, I think. I think that's probably what that was, which I'm surprised by because she was trying to kitchen the St. Pete up front. I would think she would try to kitchen that again, kind of stick with the strategy. But instead, she's clogging up the board. Oh, and that's a screw up. That is way too short. Kim could definitely hide behind that, put a disc on the 8 on the right, and that black disc that Mike just shot would be perfectly in the way. It's what she's going for. And she gets it. Yeah. Gets it deeper than she wanted because Mike can go down the alley and maybe clip the edge of it. But definitely puts the pressure on Mike to make a hard shot. Oh, man, this is a big one. You really don't want to, like, go kitchen speed here, meaning try to knock that yellow in the -10 because if you miss the aim, you're going to kitchen yourself. And with a 21-point lead, like, all you want to do is just watch the scoreboard and try not to let your opponent make big swings. Because that's the only way they're coming back in this is if they have a huge frame. So I think Mike's even thinking, do I just block up? Yeah. Yeah, that's not a bad shot. He's conceding that 7, and he's saying you have that 7. If you want to get more than 7 points, you're going to have to make a really, really hard hammer shot here. And this is a really hard hammer shot. I don't even know what she's going to go for. It looks like she's trying to go in between those 2 discs, which is definitely not going to happen. Yeah, missed it. Yeah, not the right shot. I don't know what the right shot was, though. I think maybe trying to bump the yellow disc into that's by the 10, into the 10 maybe. Or I don't really know. Or go down the alley, down the left side. Hard hammer. So that's like just a perfect example, though, of really, really smart decision making from Mike from Brooklyn, where he, messed up putting up the block, the Tampa, and then Kim had the hide in the 7. He could have gone for a hard shot, hiding down the alley, trying to get hers out with a clear, and instead he just says, look, I'm going to trust my silent captain. That's what people talk about. The scoreboard's the silent captain. I'm going to trust the score and just try to limit her to 1 score here and not try to, let her get more than 1 and get back in this game. And it's smart because they now have a 14-point lead, but Brooklyn has a 14-point lead with an extra hammer here in frame 8. I think I'm trying to listen to what Rob is saying. I think he's critiquing the penmanship at the head of the court. And this is becoming a habit of the channel. This is your PSA that if you are writing the score, please apply maximum chalk pressure. It is so hard to see the score from the other end. And everyone who's watching this game wants to know what the heck's going on. So if you're writing down the score, write it cleanly and neatly and with a lot of chalk pressure. The other thing, too, is that they're in Chicago, they buy nice chalk. Brooklyn, we don't have nice chalk. We got blue chalk and purple chalk. I don't know why they're buying that stuff. All right. So Rob still kind of going on the board. Mike still putting on a masterclass in clearing. I will say Rob is kind of just putting it in the same spot every time, which I don't love. I kind of wish he was throwing them kind of further to the right edge of the board. Hey, but I stand corrected. Mike missed the clear. I called it a masterclass of clearing, and then he sticks the clear. That is my bad. Sorry, Mike. All right, Rob trying to put this in the negative 10. Looks pretty good. No, comes up short. Misses the angle. Wanted to hit it straight on, and he missed the angle and came up a little short and left that in the 7. And if he can convert this hammer, which he gets it, that is a 15-point score for black, stretching that 14-point lead to be 29 after 8 frames. Oh, that's so rough. So, we were talking about... Oh, actually, we're going to take a little bit of break. We'll be right back. All right, we're going to pick this thing up. They are doing warm-up shots before we start frame 9 of 16. I'll talk a little bit about warm-up shots. You see right now, Mike, he is practicing starting from the outside of the court and hiding behind what would be a Tampa. And for this national tournament, we do 16... No, we do. Each person gets 8 warm-up shots, and that's different from how we typically do it in Royal Palms and our singles leagues and things like that, where everyone just gets 4 warm-up shots. Different than the Royal Palms League. You get 8 here because that's more traditional with how Florida State and national tournaments do it. But I'll talk a little bit about what you're supposed to be looking for when you take the warm-up shots. So all shuffleboard courts are not perfectly flat. It's kind of like putting in golf. I use that analogy all the time, where all golf courts, when you're putting on the green, they're all sort of sloped in one direction or another. And you're supposed to try to look at it, read, I want it to go in the hole, I have to aim 6 inches to the right of the hole, and trust that the slope of the green will push it over and make it go in. Shuffleboard courts are exactly the same, except you can visually see which way it slopes left or right. So the warm-up shots are basically you aiming at a certain point, trying to put your disc there, seeing where it ends up in relation to your target point. So let's say you're aiming for an 8 on the left, it ends up 6 inches to the left of that 8 on the left you were aiming at. You know that in that part of the court, it slopes to the left a little bit. And we saw this come up a little bit in the beginning of the game when Rob was trying to kitchen. He missed to the right, left Mike in points on the left. And, he may have just missed the shot. But a lot of times when people miss, especially at this level where everyone's really, really good at shuffleboard, a lot of times it's because you didn't realize that part of the court sloped in a direction, drifted in a direction. So when you hear people talk about court drift, that's what they're talking about. So that's the one thing you're trying to do with your warm-up shots is try to create this mental map of the court of which areas slope left, which areas slope right. The other thing you're trying to do is get a sense of the speed of the discs. All the discs are marked 1, 2, 3, 4. in our Brooklyn League and our, like Chicago League, we don't have like fancy nice discs. We use the house discs. They're all kind of different sets. Some of them might be like different colors, different vintages. So no matter what you're doing, you're trying to figure out if there, or where you're playing, you're trying to figure out if there's a difference in speed between the 4 discs that you're shooting with. I know typically in Royal Palms, Brooklyn, the discs that are like a faded yellow, I think those always tend to feel a little bit slower. Here, I've noticed that a lot of the discs that are marked with a number 1 tend to be a little bit slower for some reason. I've also seen that in Florida, where like the 1 disc is the slowest, the disc labeled with 4 dots is the fastest. So you're trying to kind of shoot them all and understand, is there a difference in speed? Because the worst thing that you can do is not pay attention, have an open hammer, and then you come up short, you don't score anything because you were using the slow disc without realizing that it was slow. So you're trying to track that. Even shuffleboard like 301, I know Paul was talking about this yesterday. If you know your opponent is going for kitchens, trying to shoot your slow disc on the board, so when they try to kitchen it, the disc that they're trying to put in the kitchen slow so it gets left in a 7. That's sort of like shuffleboard advanced technique. I try to do that a little bit. I'm not amazing at it, but it's something that as you play more and you kind of figure out these like advanced tactics, definitely something you can take advantage of. And yeah, you're trying to figure out the difference between the 4 discs. And then also just finally, a lot of times the yellow discs are different speeds than the black discs. And you're just trying to get that muscle memory of like what an 8 feels like, what a 7 feels like, what a kitchen shot feels like. You can see Rob there just practice shooting a Tampa on the left side. And now he's practicing hiding behind that Tampa. He got both shots perfectly. That's like 100% what you're trying to do. You're trying to make sure that when you need to throw a Tampa, you kind of know the muscle memory needed. And when you're trying to hide behind it, you know the muscle memory needed in addition to the leftward, rightward drift. So yeah, that's sort of how people tend to use practice shots. Some people line up 4 discs on the back and try to just clear and replace each out. I kind of like that move that Rob was doing where you like throw up a hide, try to hide, or throw up a block, try to hide behind it. The other thing that you could be doing, Mike and Mike have been, they have a pretty serious lead right now. And what they're going to be doing in the back half of the game is trying to protect that lead by clearing. They might even want to start like practice a couple clearing discs, Like I don't think Mike's going to be going for a lot of kitchen shots just because they're up 30-something, about 29 right now. So I think in that scenario, like you might even want to practice clearing a little bit and like take a couple reps of clearing hard, trying to make sure you're clearing hard and straight because that's what you're going to be doing a lot of this game, trying to protect this lead. All right, we are about to start frame 9 of 16. Brooklyn with a pretty serious 51-22 lead right now. It's going to be interesting to see if Chicago can crawl back. If I were to make a prediction, and I may be a little biased because I am from Brooklyn, but seeing how well Mike and Mike have been clearing, and then knowing that they are like smart decision makers that kind of know how to protect a lead by blasting clears, as we kind of saw in the first half a little bit, I have a feeling they're going to be able to grind this one out through hard clears. But I don't know. Yellow was struggling with the drift a little bit. It's going to be interesting to see if in the first 8, it's going to be interesting to see if whoever's playing yellow now struggles a little bit in the back 8. So we'll see. All right, hard clear, number 1. Gets it really nice. I'll talk a little bit about hard clears also. There's sort of a little bit of debate about whether you should be clearing softly because it's a little bit easier to be accurate when you're throwing softly, or clearing hard. I am 100% in the camp of clearing hard, especially because our Royal Palms courts don't have any beads on them. Especially when it's humid in here, it gets really slow. And if you're not clearing hard and you hit the disc kind of straight on, you run the risk of sticking it. So the harder you clear, the kind of more leeway you have if you miss to the left or right. So this is sort of an interesting frame playing out right now. Wow, nice shot from Kim. Is that in? Mike's looking at it. Oh, he doesn't want to bother the court 3 people. So he's like waiting a second. Yeah, he's going to look at it. Yeah, that's definitely in. So yeah, really weird choice for Mike to not clear. Instead, he was blocking the ability to split. And like absolutely the wrong shot, because by blocking it, she scored. The disc that he put up before trying to block her just was in the way. And now Kim has an opportunity. I mean, she could just score it on the open court and make an 8 and get 16 points. But with them being down 29, she might want to try to go cross court and knock this that disc that's on the 8-7 line into the 7. This is a really tough choice for her because she's down, so she needs to take risky shots. She can hit that disc, bump it into the 7, and score her own in an 8. But it's a hard shot, and she runs the risk of knocking her 8 up front on the left side and knocking it out of points. So I don't know what I go for here because I can't see it from her angle. I almost feel like I would just go for the easier 8 points and try to take the 16-point win here. It looks like she's going for the hero shot, though. And she does not get the hero shot. So that's what I'm talking about. You go for the more risky shot. More upside, if she got that, it would have been 16 plus 7, 23 points. If she just made the open score on the right, which was wide open for her, she would have had 16 points. And then she went for the hard shot, and she only got 8. So like more to gain, more to lose by hitting your own disc out. I get the shot selection just because you're wanting to catch up, and when you're down 29, you want to catch up in one fell swoop. For me, though, hindsight a little 20/20, but I think I would probably have gone for the 16, try to make it feel like the momentum's changing, and with 7 frames left, you have time to get back in it. So yeah, so now we're frame 9. It's a 21-point differential, and Mike clearing really nicely. Making the game boring for Rob. He doesn't have the chance to kitchen anything because of this nice clearing. All right, he's moving it around, though. That's what I was talking about before. Trying to make Mike have to clear in different spots. And he's clearing so well. Yeah, Rob just shrugs. He's like, you're not giving me anything here. But that's how you protect a lead. That is 100% how you protect a lead. You want to make the game boring and grind this thing out. All right, Rob going for an 8 on the left, and it hits the center line. And now Mike with a hammer, 8 on the camera right, I should say. And now Dunlap going cross court, trying to get that 8 on the camera left to score. And he nails it. Really nice hammer from Mike. And Brooklyn sort of continuing this dominant performance here, stretching the lead back up to 29. With 6 frames left. Yeah, so black's out first. They each have the same number of hammers left. I imagine Kim's going to go on the board and try to play this kitchen game. The only thing, though, is like, from her perspective, like if she throws up a 10, we know Mike's going to try to clear it. She went on the 8-7 line last time, and Mike tried to block it. So there might be a scenario in which if she misses on purpose or hits a line on purpose, maybe Mike will not clear. And she could like bump it. So maybe if she needs to get creative, maybe she can, based on Mike's shot selection in the prior frame. But here he tried to clear it. It rolled left, and she's going to go for a hide, trying to score a 7 just to the right of that printed number 7. Comes up way short. That's the disc with 3 dots on it. That one seemed like it really wasn't moving. So I wonder if that's potentially a slow disc, or if maybe she's just having trouble adjusting to the blacks being a little slower than the yellows. Oh, no, kind of interesting setup now. Let's see what he does. Yeah, trying to bump. Definitely not the right shot choice. Trying to bump his own in. Almost knocks black into the 10. So, yeah, now she has a kitchen opportunity here. Yeah, I got to, like, take back what I said before about the smart decision-making. That was definitely not the right shot. Kim cannot get the kitchen, though, way too hard. And, yeah, I don't know what Brady's going to do here. I guess try to clear. I mean, what I do is clear the one on the right, probably. I don't know. That's probably, yeah, clear the left side of the disc on the right. Maybe roll yours over and clear both like that. Really, really nice shot. And then Kim, probably best opportunity for her. I mean, she could block up the right side of the board and just make his hammer hard. But being down, I think you might want to go cross court and try to hide a 7. Looks like she's going for the former. Trying to block up the board or get that high 10. She gets the high 10 perfectly. Really nice shot from Kim. So, yeah, when people talk about a high 8 or a high 10, it just means that even if Mike hits this straight on, his disc is going to be on the line. Exactly. So, really nice, like, powerful thing to go for. If you don't have the hammer, your last shot of the frame, and the board's sort of, like, open like that. Not really any opportunities to hide behind something. Not really many opportunities to kitchen a score. Going for something called, like, a high 10. If you get it, it makes it really hard. Basically, your opponent has to try to kitchen you, and maybe they shoot it too soft, and they leave you in points. So really, really powerful shot. A lot of people go for that. I'm hearing shot o'clock. I think it might be Malort 30 right now here in Royal Palms, Chicago. Rob can't read the score. My man needs some glasses, it sounds like. 59-30, yeah. I can read it from back here. I'm like, 15 feet behind the guy, and I can read that thing. So I think he might need to get his eyes checked. All right, so really good clearing again. He is like giving Rob nothing to work with. I'm loving this. This is like my ideal scenario. If I'm winning and I'm clearing this well, I am feeling so good. Yeah, Rob's hammering it up for the camera. I love it. All right, nice clear again. I mean, Rob might want to think about trying to kitchen that yellow or going down the alley. Just with a 29-point lead, like just putting something in play. Or maybe earlier you try to kitchen that yellow disc like towards the left. I don't know. It's hard. I think with the hammer, having the hammer, you just play kitchen bait and hope that, Mike has missed some clears. I think that's the move. Continue doing what you're doing. Wherever you feel most confident with the drift, understanding of the drift where you're most likely to get a kitchen. Oh, I love it. Let's go. Scores all the way in the corner, right corner there. Really close to that yellow disc. This will be interesting. And he blasts it, and he sticks it. Yeah, look at that. What an amazing shot from Rob, putting it in a place where Mike could not clear it. And now he has exactly what he wanted, a kitchen attempt on this deep 7. Looks pretty good. No, way too hard. Gets the 7. Man, this color change is, you see both Rob and Kim being affected by it where their kitchen attempts are all running really long. So I don't know if that's because they are not used to the speed, so they're just giving it a little extra juice, or if it's because the disc they're kitchening is faster, possibly. The yellow disc being a little bit faster when you hit them. They tend to carry a little bit more. Either way, though, it's really nice. Mike down here, Mike Dunlap is playing exactly like how I play, where even if you miss a clear, you're giving them so few kitchen attempts, they don't have the opportunity to hone in that kitchen speed of what knocking a disc in the -10 feels like. So really, really nice play from Mike Dunlap down here in Brooklyn. And it'll be interesting to see what Brady does here. It looks like he's lining up to hide cross court. What's funny is Brady before the match, he got the 7, and it's really well hidden. That's perfect. Brady before the match called it. He's like, I'm looking forward to hearing how you critique all the wrong strategy choices I'm making. And I was like, nah, man, you have good strategy. It's not going to be like that. And then he, with a 29-point lead, goes for, or 22-point lead, goes for a deep 7 high that he absolutely doesn't need. And this is why he doesn't need it. He has the score. He tried to block it up with that disc, and he shot it too far to the right. And now Kim can thread the needle, go between the black and yellow, knock that 7 out, and potentially knock it into the -10. Really hard shot, but she needs it to get back in this, and she clips the disc up front. The opportunity was there for her, and she, it's a line she hasn't really been taking all that often, and she missed to the left. And let's see if Mike can block it up again. That's definitely better than the first one. That's a really nice. That's really nice block. Nothing Kim can really do. She's just going to be resigned probably to scoring wherever she's most likely to get the score, which I agree with. The highest percentage shot is the right shot here, and she comes up soft again. Oh, so Brooklyn scores 7 off hammer, without the hammer, to really stretch this lead and maybe end the match. I know there's still 3 frames left, but this is a pretty serious lead again. 29-point lead, I think, and also an extra hammer for Brooklyn playing yellow. And this has been a really dominant performance. There's been really no point where Brooklyn has been feeling nervous, I'd say. Maybe when Mike missed that first block and Kim could have threaded the needle and kitchened it. I think it's good. He's clearing it anyway. He's like, yeah, I want to see Rob maybe going more on the left side of the board. He keeps sticking to that middle or right side. I like how Rob is joking around about Mike's form. Mike does have a very unique shooting form. It's like I believe he calls it the shovel shuffle, where he kind of looks like he's shoveling snow out of someone's driveway. John Zanakis of the Golden Tangs, the greatest shuffleboard team in the history of shuffleboard or teams, he has a very similar shot as Rob tries to throw up a deep 7 and almost kitchens himself. That's on the line, though. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. He, like, grinds himself into the ground, left foot forward. He doesn't take any steps. He just sort of, like, shoots it. Yeah. Nice, smart play from Mike throwing off the side there. The last thing he wants is to get kitchened. Yeah, I mean, everyone has different shooting forms. The traditional is sort of like the right step, left step if you're a righty. And then the left-right, like you just saw from Rob, if you're a lefty. But, I mean, whatever works. If you figure out a form that feels good for you, I say you stick with it. The only thing you don't want to be doing is shooting off balance. You definitely want your shooting form to have you being balanced. As Mike can't clear and replace. Probably not too upset, though, because of this lead that he has. But at least he missed the hammer. That was probably the first hammer he missed all match. All right. Crowd applauding one of the consolation matches. Yeah, so we got 4 matches going on right now. We have the semifinals of the main bracket, which you're watching right now. And the other one is Drew and Ruggie from Brooklyn versus Tyler Berry and Danson Dave Bourbon from Chicago in the other semifinal match. And then we have the 2 semifinal matches of the consolation bracket. A consolation bracket, if you haven't played in a national tournament, it's a format where in the beginning of the tournament, if you win your first game, your first match, you stay in the main bracket. If you lose your first match, you move to the consolation bracket. And after that, a single loss knocks you out. So it's just kind of a way of making sure everyone gets 2 matches. Also, it's just like kind of a fun system. This is a kitchen opportunity for Kim. I mean, this game is not out of reach yet, but she needs this kitchen. If she gets she needs the kitchen and to score keep the 10 in too. Let's see if she can get it. A little hard, I think, and she misses to the right. Yeah, a little bit too hard, and she misses to the right. And Brady, my guess, clearing this out. Blast the clear. Nice and hard, just the way I like it. Oh, yeah, I was saying the last thing I'll say. When you're shooting, find a shooting form where you're feeling like really balanced. Your center of gravity is kind of over your feet. You're lunging forward a little bit. That's sort of the main thing. And then also making sure your arm is making a straight line to the target. You're not like waving your arm left or right. Wow. And Mike with a really nice clear and replace. Kim going for the high 10 and gave him just enough space where he can clear and replace it. And he gets what is not an easy 10 clear and replace there. So, yeah, going to the last frame, it looks like this is Brooklyn's match. They are up 39. And if you can count the number of discs Rob has, he has 4 discs. He would need to shoot 4 10s to win this thing. That's his only path to victory, is shooting 4 10s or putting Dunlap in the kitchen. If he doesn't get this 10, the match is over. All right, he got 1 10. But I don't think he wanted that to be a little deeper. Ooh, already clears it out. All right, so now it's game over. Yeah, Rob just said that's going to make it a little tough. All right, so Mike and Mike, moving on to the finals of the Illinois Shuffleboard Association National Tournament. This is going to be their second time in the finals. As mentioned, they won it in 2022, so it'll be really interesting to see if they can win this thing twice. That is a big sort of like, I don't know, those are some serious bragging rights in this like Royal Palms Brooklyn versus Royal Palms Chicago battle sort of that we have been going for a while. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to peek over there. Let's see who they're playing against. The other semifinal match still has 3 frames left, and it's pretty close. Shoot the 10 with your eyes closed. Shoot the 10 with your eyes closed. The crowd is saying, oh, yeah, let's do it. Crowd is saying, shoot the 10 with your eyes closed, and by the crowd, I mean me. And instead he goes for the double kitchen and doesn't get it. All right, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and look out for the finals match. It'll be posted really soon. Thanks again. Have a great day.